Good morning guys, TheBroGrammer here again today with a brand new video. Today I'll be talking about constructors. Alright, this subject is a little bit big, so I'll make multiple videos when it comes to this. Alright, um, let's just start right away going through the constructors. Today I'll just show you how to create a constructor and what it's used for. But that's pretty much it. I'm not going to go into the specific because there are so many things we can talk about when it comes to this. Alright, let's start by creating variables. All right, as you can see here, I created a class called window. All right, and a window usually has a height and a length. uh, yeah, sorry, width and height. All right, so or length, width, whatever you want. All right, in this case what I'm going to do is that I'll just declare two variables. I'll declare them private, and private means they are only accessible within this class. All right, and you'll understand later on as you get accustomed to programming what I mean by private, or I'll just tell you later on in my later on videos. Private, and of course I'll declare it double because it might have some floating, it might be a floating number. Double height, actually width equals 0. I'm not going to give it any value for now. Double, actually, length equals 0 also. All right, now to the interesting part, constructors. All right, so for the constructors, usually the way you write that down, it's pretty simple. Constructor needs to have the same name as the class. All right, so let's just go ahead and write it down. Window, colon, brackets, close this. All right, so as you can see, no errors. All right, the reason why it's because call it the same name as my class. And here you can always write down parameters. In this case, we usually like to have one constructor that doesn't have any parameters. The reason why it's because it's the default one. It's called the default one, and I'll explain to you in a later on video on constructors why. All right. Now let's go ahead right now. The reason why it's a default one is because here I'll just instantiate my two variables that I created, and I'll refer to them by saying this dot width equals 2. All right, and this dot length equals 2 also. All right, so what happens with this here, the this here, as you can see, this refers to those two variables here. That's what it does. All right, so by using this, you refer to these two right here, and I'll explain to you why in a few seconds. Now allow me to create a second constructor. All right, window again. And as you can see, I have an error on both of them. And why? It's because a constructor needs to be specific, all right? Not specific, but needs to be different than the other constructors within your class, all right? In this case here, I'll just give it one parameter, actually two, sorry. All right, so double, I'll call this length right there, and then double width. All right. So what happens here is I'll do the same thing. I'll just allow me to copy this, and then width equals width, and length equals length. Now recognize this. Once I select this length is the one selected, right? Once I do this one is the one selected. Now when I do this, all these lengths are selected. By using the this, I refer to the variable that's contained within my class specifically, all right? Just so there is no confusion, because once I remove this here, you see, all these three are selected because the length here is referring to this one here. And of course, you're trying to use specific names, and yeah, you're trying to use specific names. So once I'm looking at this, I'm looking through your constructor. I'm like double length, double width. Okay, oh yeah, they have the same. So this is for the length of the window and the width of the window, so we understand. But if you're using something random like this, a variable, and You're reading your code 10 years later, you have no idea why. So by using the word this, we're referring to the variable here. All right, so it's pretty specific. Now allow us to create our main method. Jesus. All right, and create our two constructors. All right, one, constructor two, and pretty simple. I'll just grab this. Actually, no need to do this. I'll just go ahead. Window W equals new window. All right. And as you can see here, there's nothing within my brackets. So that means I'm calling the first one here. All right. The first one here. Now, if I do this, actually, now if I create the second one, second constructor, and I give it 5, 5 here, you'll see it's still working. Let me grab right 2 here. It's still working, but I'm calling the second one here, second constructor here. All right. Now, let me create a quick method that will allow me to get the values of these. So we usually call those getters. All right, getters for, and it's the reason why we're calling these getters is because we're trying to get the values within the values of specific variables. So I'll just call this public. I'll call this one public. Uh, Public double y because it's returning a variable, a double. It will be returning a double get length. All right, there's an error message, and then I call return this dot. Whoa. All right, so I'll do the same thing with the width. Whoa. Jesus. All right, so as you can see, again, I'm calling this variable here. All right, so those are methods that I created called getters. And the reason why I'm calling them getters because it allows me to get the value of this variable, and you will understand why in a few seconds. So here, okay, I created my object, but I have no idea what the length is, what the actual width is. All right, so by doing this, I'll just do sys out. All right, and then say w.get length. All right, and w.get width. All right, so this will give me the width. Allow me to format that. Just real quick. Width. All right, so that should be good. Now I'll do the same thing for W2. I'll just create a space in between and then call this W2, W2. And as you can see, W2 here. So once I run this, you see length 2 width 2, length 5 width 5. And why? It's because this one, the window here is calling this constructor here, and the first one, my W, is calling this constructor here. All right, reason why we get those values. Of course, you can change this for 5, 8, All right, whatever. We rerun it again. 5, 8. And as you can see, the default one is always giving me the values 2 and 2. Why? It's because that's what I set it up to here, right? Because it's not taking any parameters. So that's what I'm doing. You can also create another one which will only contain one variable, all right? So length here, and then width will always be 2, all right? And if I call it again, I'll just show you here. Yeah, constructor 2, and constructor 3. No, it's getting long, but it's just so you understand really how to create those 3, 3, and 3, 3. And if I run this, as you can see, my length is 5, width is 2 here, all right? And why? It's because here I gave it 5 in perimeter. All right, I can change this to 10 just so you can see something different. As you can see, 10 and 2, all right? So thank you again for watching my video, guys. TheBroGrammer here again today. Thank you very much. If you have any question, do not hesitate. And again, like I said, I'll bring up brand new and more specific details when it comes to constructors in my next few videos. All right. Have a good one, guys.